Hey everyone, so excited to see you on this edition of Terilee Talks. I'm Terilee Harrison and just delighted to have my special guest with you today. You are going to be so excited to hear from Angela Irwin. Angela, welcome.
Hello, everybody. It's so great to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a delight to have you. We're going to be talking about confidence today, which I believe is something that most business owners, if you haven't struggled with it at all, I just can't imagine that you won't at some point. Right? It's a part of our human condition, right, Angela?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's unfortunately the way that our brains are wired to keep us safe. And so, yes, if I can't imagine either. If you haven't encountered it, you will as a business owner for sure.
So let me introduce you all more formally to Angela. You're going to love meeting her. And I love saying when you find out where she's from, I love saying, yeah, I'm going to go see her, man. Okay. So Angela Irwin, MBA, is an international confidence coach and speaker. She helps women develop long-lasting confidence by reprogramming their self-acceptance. She's a TEDx speaker and she's the founder of Joyful Life Solutions, and she's dedicated to this purpose. In response to the pandemic, Angela also started a nonprofit organization called the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund. The fund aims to support cochlear implant recipients by providing them with continued access to the vital technology they need to maintain their hearing abilities and stay connected with the world. Angela is passionate about helping women change the way they feel about themselves in order to step into their full potential. Born in a small farm community in South Dakota, Angela has lived and traveled all over the world. She and her husband, Colin, have been living in France for the past 13 years. So now you know Terilee wants to go to Nice to see Angela. So welcome, Angela.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I can't wait. Anytime the sun and the sea are just here, ready to welcome you.
Oh, we're gonna create an amazing reason why I need to go, and then I'm there. Yeah, so I'm looking
Sounds
forward to
great.
it. So one day when you see us all together there at the beach, you will know what happened. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So today, here we are, and we know it's the human condition to struggle with confidence. And as business owners, gosh, Angela, let's just face facts. Like we can be up one moment and then doesn't take much. Oh no, right? And so I'm excited to for you to share these three tips and bust through some myths when it comes to confidence. So are you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready.
Awesome.
Let's build a confidence muscle. And that is exactly what it is. It's building a muscle. Um, one of the things that I think most of us, certainly myself included, thought was that the idea of I'll feel confident when,
Yes.
fill in the blank, whatever that is. I'll feel more confident when I get another degree, get a promotion, get the job, meet the partner, like all of those things. And unfortunately, that is not how it works. It really has to begin with taking the action. And I know that's not what any of us want to hear, but that is the truth. And I do have some myths
Mhm.
that I hope that I can dispel, that I hope will make it a little bit easier for you as business owners to take that first step, to get into that action. Because sometimes it can seem so overwhelming and so scary. And again, that is the way that the brain is hardwired. It's trying to keep us safe. So you are not alone in feeling that way. When we even think about stepping out of our comfort zone, it's the same thing as our way forefathers felt when they stepped out on the tundra and the wild animal was going to come and get them. The brain can't distinguish between real and perceived danger. So that's why when you think about doing an event like this, like going on a live, doing a reels, it really feels like I am in physical danger. So if you have felt that, you are not alone. That is how the brain is wired. So stepping into dispelling a couple of myths that I hope will help make this a little bit easier. And Terilee perfectly alluded to this. No one is 100% confident 100% of the time. No one is. And when I do these in like training workshops, I always ask people, who here is, raise your hand if you are, and of course no one does. I have a caveat to that, a couple caveats, but really the first one is the only way that most people would feel 100% confident 100% of the time is they're playing so small. They're not at all getting out of their comfort zones. They're not taking risks. They're not being courageous and bold like we need to be if we want to accomplish the goals that we have for ourselves. And so that is just something I think that just sort of takes a little bit of a weight off to go, okay, this is not just me. This is how the body works, the brain works, and no one is 100% competent 100% of the time.
I think it's really helpful because sometimes we can feel it's all us. And I even think it's helpful what you said. Imagine that the same things we feel if we're going to go do an interview. And the good news is the more interviews we do, the less or the more confident we can feel, right? Because we're like, oh, I've done that before. But it's the same thing that the people years ago when they stepped out to face the animals. Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable that it's the same thing. But wow. So no wonder we get all worked up sometimes, huh?
Yep. So that is, it's actually, I say this, people kind of tend to chuckle, but that's a sign that you have a healthy brain.
Okay.
Your brain is working the way that it's designed to. The number one goal is to keep you safe. And so if you weren't, again, if you aren't stepping out of your comfort zone, if you are playing so small that you don't feel nervous or you don't feel, that self-doubt or any of those feelings kick in. But the fact that you do just signifies that, okay, my brain's working the way it's supposed to. And, just sort of tongue in cheek, I think it makes it, just a little bit lighter as we are thinking about, like you say, whether it's an interview, making a phone call, doing a live, whatever it might be, those feelings are going to come up. And that's just normal. I think that is so helpful to know that because I didn't know that for the longest time. And so you go, oh, okay. So then what can we do to sort of support that and help us get over that? And as you also mentioned, the repetition. I mean, that is the action and the repetition. That's how you build the muscle, just like when you go lift weights in the gym.
Mm-hmm. So good. So good. So I know that the second tip or like busting through myths that you have to share with us is that so many of us, I think, worry about what will people think of me. And what is it you want us to know? That people will judge us no matter what.
Yeah.
Ooh, tell us more about that.
Yeah, it is 100% true. People will judge you no matter what. So I think that can also just be like something to take a bit of a weight off. The thing that I have learned and interacting with so many amazing entrepreneurs and business owners, and Terilee, I know this from you 1,000%, is we're heart-centered. We're service-centered. We want to help other people. So we're not here to be like, oh, I want to make $1 bazillion just because or something. We're really here to help and make someone else's path easier than perhaps ours was, as just one example. And when we get caught up in that thinking of, oh my gosh, what are people going to say? And that really, oh man, that will keep you stuck. That will just, that's like quicksand, to be honest. And so I have found in understanding the relief, sort of a weird thing to say, the relief that comes with just understanding, you know what? Darned if you do, darned if you don't, because people are going to judge you. If you're not saying anything, they're going to wonder, what are you doing? And one of the interesting examples that I had of that early on, when I made the career switch from 15 years in the corporate world to my life coaching certification, I did have the crisis of confidence. That's how I got into this in the first place. I had a massive crisis of confidence to the fact that I just went to shut down. I was like, oh my gosh, who am I to go out and tell people I'm now a life coach and I'm doing this? And, I've spent my career and corporate medical devices training and marketing and that, it didn't really relate. And so I was the harshest judge of myself. So instead of having that courage to go out and say, this is what I'm doing now, I just went quiet. And the funny thing about that was I was living in the south of France. And so people assumed, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but they like assumed that I'm like, you know, on the Real Housewives of the French Riviera or something. I'm living this like glamorous, like champagne and yachts every day. And I'm like, oh my. So
you're not? That's why I was coming. No, I'm just
no, we absolutely, we will do, you know, maybe not the yachts, but we will have champagne. It's cheaper than wine in the US. So yes, we will absolutely do that. But you know what I mean? Like they assumed because I wasn't informing, I wasn't saying what I was actually doing. They made assumptions and judgments of, wow, you know, basically retired at 40 or so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know.
Awesome.
That's not what was going on. I didn't have that confidence. I didn't know how to change the way that I felt about myself. But when I realized that, I'm like, wow. So it's actually even just worse for me to keep quiet, because the assumptions people make, like I said, they'll judge you no matter what. So you might as well be putting out your message and your passion to the world.
You know, I always say that I'm looking for the people that are looking for me. And, you know, there'll just be some people that aren't our people, right? And the people that are like, ugh. And you know what? That's okay. There are plenty of people that can be our people. And so totally agree. We just need to get our message out, just like we're doing right now, right? Just show up, and I swear we'll always be glad we did, or I have always found that. How about you?
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too, is that we like conjure up these fears. And again, it's because the way the brain is hardwired. But we conjure up and think, oh my gosh. I remember one of the first coaching clients that I worked with, and one of her assignments, her homework, was to do a Facebook Live. So this was years ago, before Instagram really was a thing, or Reels and all that. And first week goes by and we come back and she hasn't done it, even though this was a goal she had set for herself, that she really wanted to do. And she knew that it was going to help her online business grow. And she was, you know, there was, you know, some excuse made. And I was like, okay, all right. So is this still the goal that you have for the next week? Yes. We come back, you know, the second week in a row, no Facebook Live. And so I said, well, what's really going on here? And she's like, oh, you know, as we do, all the excuses, there's 700 reasons why. And so I asked her, I said, so, you know, what's the worst that can happen? There must be some fear coming up. What's the worst thing that could happen? And without missing a beat, she goes, I could die.
That probably feels that way, right?
And we both just busted out laughing. I mean, I don't normally laugh during client sessions, but that was so heavy in her. And so, you know, of course, we worked through it. And, you know, my goodness, the next week she had done 2 Facebook Lives. We come back, she goes, that wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun. And, you know, again, it's just an example of what we do. We build up this thing. So that would be something, you know, little extra nugget of advice. So the longer you sit, the more it's going to build up. So if you can just take that action, whatever it is, however small it is, and then you go, oh, that wasn't so bad. I can do that again. And again, that's the whole point of, you know, that the repetitions and building the muscle.
So good. So this next one, I think, is so important. They all are. Thank you for all these tips. But comparison is the thief of all joy.
And in this, you know, Uber, with the Uber information overload, I guess is a way to say it, where we all have this information coming at us constantly all the time, with all these social media platforms, more starting every day, all of that thing. It's so easy to just get lost in that, oh my gosh, this person is, 7 million steps ahead of me, or they were an overnight success, or you. And again, this is another one to just sort of, let's ground ourselves back for a moment. And we have literally no idea what someone else's journey has been, how long it's taken them to get there. The media loves the overnight success story, which I don't believe has ever happened for anyone. I was just watching about a year-old interview with Jason Sudeikis, who is the creator and star of Ted Lasso, which I absolutely love. And I really like to watch interviews or read, biographies of people, and just because there's always something to glean. And it was so interesting. There's so many wonderful takeaways from this 9-minute interview that he did. He was talking about his journey from pre-Saturday Night Live onto creating this global smash hit of Ted Lasso. And it was really interesting to hear him, because he was talking about doing he was working at Second City, which is an improv group in the Las Vegas group. And he's like, yeah, we were doing shows for like 8 people every night. And that in and of itself is such a great takeaway. Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. And, never could he have imagined. He auditioned for Saturday Night Live 3 times, was hired as a writer at first and kept auditioning, did get it, all this. But what he said also that I think is so important is, yes, of course, that's super disappointing. That's not the path he thought he was going to be on. He thought he was going to be a cast member and on and on. But the interesting piece is that being a writer for the first couple of seasons that he was on really honed his ability to write for other people, create other voices, really honing that skill that allowed him to, more than a decade later, create Ted Lasso. And I just thought that was just so amazing, such an amazing example. But I know it's tough, but if we can sort of put the blinders on a little bit. I mean, I think it's great to sort of look around and see what other people are doing, but we don't want to go down, the hole and get stuck and think, oh, I have nothing to offer. Because the truth is, we all have something unique to offer. We all, no one can do something in the same way that each one of us can. And I think that's also a great reminder of, so if we can sort of block out or maybe limit the time on social media, I think it's helpful, because that hopefully won't keep you stuck, and just remember that you have something unique to offer to the world.
These days, and I'm sure you are well studied with your articulator activator, that once they see something, they can't unsee it. Or like when I buy a blue car, or like a year ago, I bought a blue Nissan Rogue, and now all I see are Nissan Rogues or blue cars and blue Nissans, right? So in my life, training speakers and coaching speakers, all of a sudden, it's all I see is all my competition. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much competition. But you know what, Angela? We can all think that. You can all think that no matter what you do, because it's going to start showing up because you're paying attention to it, right? I think the main thing is I've started liking them, following them, and seeing what they're up to, but just having that knowing deep within that what you have is unique, and the believing again that there's plenty, right? There's plenty out there. There's plenty of people that want to speak in the world for all these people to serve them, right?
Yeah, 100%. We're, now have 7 billion people on this planet. Someone, like you mentioned earlier, we're not going to be for everyone. And that's cool. Like, we all do it, and it's nothing personal. Like, just think of actors or actresses, or, fill in the blank writers, whatever it might be that you prefer. Maybe other people don't prefer that. Maybe it's even movie types. Like, I'm not a fan of science fiction, but I have a really good friend who is a rabid science fiction fan. I think, again, if we can sort of separate ourselves from those sort of things and think, okay, it's nothing personal, it's just a preference. We're going to connect with someone's message. Someone is for sure going to connect with your message, my message, everyone's message. And just having that belief and that, okay, there's people out there that need what I have, and only the way that I can deliver it and say it. And when you focus on helping those people and that being of service of those people, it makes that so much easier to, just be like, okay, let's go again. Let's go again. Let's find the people. Let's find my people.
So speaking of finding people, get ready. Angela has an amazing program. And if you are resonating with what she's saying, if you're like, yeah, I could use some more of this speaking into my life right now, I'm going to share something with you here. And she has a new membership club, and I want you to please share with my business owner friends all about it.
Awesome. So thank you for the opportunity. So this has been something that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's been percolating, and I think the timing is just right. So this is called Own Your Impact Membership Club. I used to do something in person around Own Your Impact, which is really about, no matter what age or stage of life we are, we all have the ability to make a difference, to make an impact, whether at local communities, whether nationally, whether globally. And so combining that with creating a space of like-minded people, where we really want to, like some of the things that I was talking about today, just really normalize the human experience, these emotions that we feel. And like Terilee said at the very beginning, as business owners, we think it's going to be sort of smooth sailing, or maybe even a little bit trajectory like this. Oh no, it is this and this and this constantly. And just when you think you figured it out, it's more of this and this and this. And so it's really a place of community first and foremost. To be able to just come in and talk about like these sorts of things. I'll be providing some different coaching throughout each month. There'll be different topics each month on personal development, but really the community of coming together and having some accountability, which I have found myself makes such a difference. Because otherwise it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'll do this next week, or I'll do this. And so when we can come in and have some accountability and support, so that if you do get stuck, if you are in the valley, we can get out much quicker. So I'm really excited about that. So I would love for you to check that out. Would love for have you come join us in the members club.
What a great opportunity for people who are ready to stand up and rise up and move past some of those things to have a greater impact. So I thank you for that. And then if you're looking here at joyfullifesolutions.com, that's also Angela's website that I know she would love to have you visit, and I'm sure you can connect with her through there. So Angela, this was awesome. Look forward to having you back again, and we can talk some more about building confidence, and because I think there's always just a next level. The more we grow, there'll be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
That is 100% true. I found that because I found that repeatedly, and you're like, really, this again? Like, I swear I have mastered this. And then you go, the world goes, haha, here we are. And yeah, so it really is that continuation, that just the journey. It really is the marathon and not the sprint. And to have support and like I said, like-minded people, and also guidance from someone who has gone through this and continues to go through it. As a group, I think there's nothing better than that shared experience. It's super empowering.
So good. So good. So I'm going to try to get this really quick. Let me see if I can do it. I posted on Facebook today. I've been posting like a daily quote, and let me see. I thought it might be appropriate. Let's see if I can get it in a hot second before we leave. Okay. Very simple, but very poignant. You are powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and brave. So go out there, and Angela and I are wishing you to go out and do that thing. Go out and do that thing that that is making you nervous, you have all that it takes. So Angela, thanks for your time.
And thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you to you all for being part of this edition of Terilee Talks Live. We'll see you next time.